Hello, everyone. Once again, I hope you all are doing great. I would like to welcome you all to today's webinar session on Unlearn HR to learn Agile PeopleOps. On behalf of Agile PeopleOps, me, Mariana Di Rosario, your host, would like to thank you all for taking out your precious time in joining us today. Sorry about that. So what is the Agile PeopleOps community? Our core intent is to create the PeopleOps social fabric to harness collective intelligence and practice new PeopleOps learnings. The three core Agile PeopleOps global community attributes are connect, collaborate, and co-create, the three C's. In this webinar, we are going to learn about why we need to bid goodbye to HR and welcome Agile PeopleOps, and understand Agile PeopleOps framework, its manifesto, and values. I would now like to introduce our India country ambassador, Mr. Rohit Bagul. He is an APF certified PeopleOps Scrum Master, an Agile enthusiast, a design thinker, an HR business analyst, and senior executive HR operation at CasePoint LLC. As an energized HR professional, he possesses the skills to successfully implement and support vital HR activities that cut costs while amplifying employee engagement and performance across operations. Additionally, he is well regarded for devising unique policies and procedures that improve efficiency throughout operations. I would like to invite Rohit Bagul for a welcome note and to speak a few words.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And it is an honor to welcome you all to our very first India community event as the country ambassador of India. I'm proud to be part of this historic movement where we come together and to share the knowledge, insights, and experiences as a community. This event is a remarkable opportunity for us to engage a meaningful discussion on Unlearn HR to learn Agile PeopleOps. And it is the chance to us to learn from our experts and thoughts leaders in our community. So once again, welcome to our APF India community event. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rohit. I would now like to introduce our esteemed speakers for today's session. The first speaker is Ms. V. Lakshmi Chiravari. She is the co-founder of Culture Elegance and Agile PeopleOps Framework, accredited trainer. She serves as the core working committee member for Agile PeopleOps. She conducts all the role-based APF training courses globally. With her unique expertise in Agile PeopleOps training and consulting, learning and development, organizational culture, and talent acquisition, Lakshmi will bring a unique perspective and expertise. The second speaker is Ms. Sarika Gupta. She is a PeopleOps Director and APF Certified PeopleOps Coach at Culture Elegance and SAP Certified from CDAC. As a human-centered leader, she is passionate about elevating the people's experience within the company and continuously strives to leverage a constructive culture between and across diverse distributed teams. Sarika loves to use her mentoring and coaching toolkit to bring the best out of people. Welcome. The stage is all yours.
Great. Thanks, Mariana, for this wonderful introduction. And thank you, Rohit, for having me and Sarika as the speakers. So Mariana, if we can move to the next slide, that would be great. Okay. So hi, everyone. A very, very warm welcome to each one of you. And thank you for taking the time out to attend this session, which is Unlearn HR to learn Agile PeopleOps. During this session, you all will be introduced, or I can say you all will get an understanding on what the current business landscape is all about, what are the challenges ahead, and how can organizations, leaders address those challenges? What is this traditional HR and why that shift has to be made to people operations? What is Agile? What is Lean? Of course, the fundamentals of that will be told during the session to you all. and definitely the paradigm shift. And why is it that need of the hour? Why is it imperative for organizations to embrace it? Then my co-speaker, Sarika, would be introducing you all to what Agile PeopleOps framework is all about, its manifesto, values, and how can organizations realize value by embracing, practicing, implementing this whole core philosophy of what Agile PeopleOps framework talks about. Having said that, Mariana, let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so you all might be experiencing disruption in your own, professional journey, maybe, right? So in short, what I would like to say is we all are sailing, even businesses are sailing in a world that is huge, in a heavy manner, very chaotic, very disruptive in its own way. And the term we use for that is called the VUCA world. As you can see on your screen, VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So it's all about, like things are becoming so volatile in its own way, right? That people are not able to decipher information. They're not able to predict what's going to happen next, right? And it's also because the trends, the historical data that used to work earlier is not going ahead and helping the leaders, organizations to make better decisions. It's that, and to add to that, the complexity aspect that comes with different economic factors, governmental political regulations, technology disruption in its own way, then the multi-generational workforce, their expectations, their needs keeps changing every time. So all of this compounds on whatever, the chaos that's out there, the disruption that's out there. And finally, so much overwhelming the information becomes that at a given point in time, things become really unclear, really hazy, right? And that's what ambiguity is all about. So when we all are sailing in this VUCA world, how can organizations be able to go ahead and still embrace this problem and create a better opportunity for their workforce? And that's where this great reimagination comes in, right? And just to mention over here, COVID is one of the best example of what VUCA is all about, right? No one expected that an epidemic would become a pandemic in no given point in time. Nobody even had that inkling that organizations will have to go on a lockdown mode. And if they're not being agile, if they're not embracing technology, collaboration on a virtual mode, they just went ahead and shut their businesses. Workforce had to go ahead and search for some other jobs, right? And also the supply chain, logistics, and other industries, including tourism, all of them had to face a setback during the COVID time. And these industries then created a ripple effect with other industries that were there. And at the end of the day, who was taking in that brunt? Definitely it was the organizations, the people, and all that, right? So you get to see the amount of complexity that is involved in all of this. And obviously, when all of this is there and the media is hyping so many things, right? And we don't know when another virus strain is going to come and impact. So it was purely, again, a scenario wherein it demanded organizations to be more adaptable, more flexible, right? So that's on the VUCA part. But again, then comes this 2022, wherein there was this great resignation era, it was called. People were just quitting their jobs. And all of this only because their priorities shifted thanks to COVID in one way or the other way. People started understanding the flexibility aspect, the importance of work-life balance, and a lot more things. So because of all this, and people quitting, organizations definitely, again, had to face a setback. And the aftermath of COVID, aftermath of this great resignation era, still presides in today's organizations. So it's like, I can say, a wake-up call for organizations to go ahead and acknowledge that this is a reality. We can't run away from this. So if we have to really address those challenges, we have to go ahead and reimagine. And before even reimagination begins, it's all about reflecting on the processes, on the operations, and everything out there within the business. And how can that be reinvented? Reinventing the wheel we see, right? How can it be reinvented to help the workforce lead, have a better experience, organizations being more sustainable? So that's what this VUCA and reimagination era is all about. So Mariana, you can move to the next slide. So now, we know the challenges are there, but how can organizations, how can leaders, and of course the people ops professionals, right? Now here, when I say people ops folks, I would be referring them as HRs. Now, why I'm calling as people ops or why I'm using that term, we will get to there in a little while. But then it's important that this upskilling takes place. Organizations need to create that environment for upskilling the people ops professionals, ensuring that they embrace what Agile is all about and get into that continuous innovation mode, right? So having said that, again, Mariana, if you move on to the next slide. Right. So we said, I said that upskilling HR professionals, the people ops professionals is important. Why? And how can that happen? The first step in going ahead and making that upskill take place is by understanding this fundamental thing that human resources, in fact, the term human resources is outdated, only for the simple fact that humans are not resources anymore, right? They can be valuable assets provided organizations are able to provide that growth and development opportunity to them. And it's always right. We say it for the people, by the people, with the people, right? So when that goes in, thinking or even considering people as resources doesn't make any sense as such, right? So having understood that human resources is outdated, and HR can as well be mentioned as or called in as human relations, right? What are other terms that people, thought leaders, organizations are using instead of the term HR? Let's take a look at that. Mariana, the next slide. So HR is being rebranded as people operations, or in short, people ops, human capital. And organizations are rebranding their function. People are coming up with fancy titles like Chief Heart Officer, Chief Amazement Officer, and so on. But I just want to add a disclaimer over here that just by rebranding the function, just by going ahead and rebranding the job title, doesn't create any wonders for organizations. The fact is that how are leaders, how are people ops professionals eliciting the behaviors, the values of empathy, embracing that with rationality and understanding that delivering value is of important. How they are eliciting those behaviors matters a lot. And that in itself goes ahead and creates or builds that people ops brand, that servant leadership brand, and so on, right? So this is very important to be kept in mind. Next slide, Mariana. Okay, so we did talk about, upskilling the HR professionals, right? Which means bidding goodbye to traditional HR and embracing what we call as people operations. Now, traditional HR is pretty transactional. HR professionals are always on that hot seat, being very reactive. Something comes in, a grievance comes in, you just act on it types, right? And HR function used to be siloed. Until date, sadly, most of the organizations have that HR as a siloed function. And when I say siloed function, folks, it's not just HR being siloed from marketing, finance, other departments, but in certain cases, HR being siloed within its own function. Like recruitment is one function, sub-function. Performance management is there, learning and development is there. All of them are not connected in many organizations. there is still a disconnect that is there, sadly, right? So that's what traditional HR looks into. And it's always like, okay, people are saying this, leadership team is saying this, I will just look into this. I, as that traditional HR professional, I'm just looking at the process. I have to create an employee handbook manual, I create it. I create a leave policy, I'm supposed to do that, I do it. That's about it. But people ops professionals is more holistic in nature. It is more about being strategic, like people ops professionals understand the importance of understanding what that organization's business is all about. Because only when the organizational business is understood, can they do their due diligence in terms of hiring the right kind of people to the organization. Coming up with career paths that can really help the employees to grow within the organization, right? So in a nutshell, if I have to say, people ops professionals are more proactive in nature. They're looking at the entire employee life cycle, the way employees look at it. It's like, I, as an employee, I would love to go ahead and onboard with an organization that is giving me a great experience, that is giving me an opportunity to experiment, fail, but yet again learn, share my innovative ideas and grow along with the company. I have a purpose, I have a meaning to be a part of this organization, and that's why I have joined here. So that's what many employees, right? They come up with that mindset. So if such is the case, why should people ops professionals, or I can say here as the traditional HR professionals and leaders, not understand this important aspect, right? So it's all about thinking through from the employee's lens, from the candidate's lens, and going ahead and creating an experience. And down the line, in future, for sure, the people ops professionals are going to serve as coaches. They're going to serve as advisors for the leaders. So now is the right time in terms of that upskilling that was mentioned earlier in the slide, right? So that's the difference between traditional HR and people operations. If you go to the next slide. So yeah, here is where Buffer, which is a company that is in the digital marketing space, the company very well says that people operations is about designing the work so that you want to be there, present, engaged, and proud of what you do, right? And it's, of course, I would like to mention here that Google, Facebook, they were one of those first companies who had gone ahead and, said that HR is outdated and it should be called as people function or people ops function. And that is well said in this book, Work Rules by Laszlo Block, right? Next slide, Mariana. Okay, so again, before even going ahead and talking about the slide, just want to refresh your memories, folks, in terms of wherein we said that the challenges ahead, it will require the upskilling of HR professionals, people ops going ahead and, embracing this agile mindset, looking into the agile design and delivery, right? So what is this agile all about? Yes, it is all about being flexible, adaptable. That's what people will say when asked, like, what is agile? But the fundamental thing or the core tenet of agile is about delivering value to customers. Now, who are the customers if we talk about the people function or the people ops function? They are none other than the candidates, the employees, and other stakeholders, right? So again, if agile is all about delivering value to customers, how do you even go about doing that? Definitely by going ahead and understanding their needs, expectations. Now, again, the question comes in like, how do we even understand their needs and expectations, right? It's again based on how we are putting ourselves, or the people ops professionals are putting themselves in the shoes of the employees, candidates, stakeholders. It's not that easy, but an attempt can be made, right? So looking from that lens, and then they understanding this really important fact that change is constant, and we as people ops professionals can understand our customers' needs, we as leaders can understand our workforce expectations only by active listening, only by observing, only by looking into what it is that they're trying to say, they're trying to share, and all that. And for that, it's very, very important to be open to that behavioral shift, being very, very intentional about the way leaders, people ops professionals behave, right? So that then can help to get that ultimate outcome, which is all about that delivering value, right? So that's very important. And that's what Agile is all about, right? If we go to the next slide, we have what is lean. Again, Agile is out there in the information technology area for more than 20 years, I can say, right? Lean has been there even earlier that, and it was famous in manufacturing companies. Lean, like Agile, is all about delivering value to customers. But again, how does that happen, right? When we talk about lean methodology, it's all about checking out the entire end-to-end process. It could be a recruitment process. It could be the way, performance management is being done. It could be the way people are going ahead and, getting an opportunity to learn and develop with the organization. So it's about going ahead and looking at the end-to-end process, trying to see where are those delays happening. The delay or those non-value added activities can be happening because of the system, right? Or because of that technology, outdated technology for that matter. It could be because of people within the organization. The people could be those recruiters, it could be those hiring managers, it could be the HR business partners, it could be anybody else, right? So understanding the nitty-gritty of why those delays are happening, what can happen, if these delays continue, definitely value can't be delivered. If such is the case, then how do we go about in addressing those delays, right? Eliminating those delays. Again, it is, realistically and practically speaking, 100% elimination never ever happens because we're dealing with people behavior, right? And that in itself is complex to an extent. So how do you go about in working towards reducing that waste or those delays, right? So that is what lean is all about, right? And finally, if you move to the next slide, Mariana, it's all about this paradigm shift, right? So you all would agree that if organizations and leaders have to address the challenges and deliver new solutions, then they have to embrace, or this paradigm shift has to be enabled. So what is this all about? It is that mindset shift that is very, very essential to go ahead and come up with new behaviors, new actions, right? And all this is possible to begin with when people embrace this growth mindset. Now, the term growth in itself, folks, has this positive connotation, right? So it's all about understanding that just as we say change is constant, learning is also constant. And thanks to our human brain, right, it has that capability to learn, unlearn, relearn. Okay, so when we are bestowed as human beings with this beautiful gift of, learning, relearning, all of that, then why can't human beings use that, right? So embracing this fact that science is there, science has proven this, so let's learn together. Let's go ahead and upskill and reskill ourselves, right? And of course, doing all this requires a lot of effort. So in short, like a lot of effort is required to achieve that mastery of success, right? So that's the first aspect or component of this paradigm shift. The second is a human-centered approach. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, right, people ops professionals, leaders, they have to empathize with their workforce. They have to empathize with the candidates. But again, balance it with logic and rationality, right? It's easy to say, but then difficult in its own way. But then, where does the buck start, right? When does things get started? How do things start getting rolled? So creating that opportunity of active listening, being there for the workforce, understanding that after all, it's the people who are developing these technology, these solutions, products, and they are the people who are capable of either making an organization successful or leading to failure of an organization, right? And now, if human-centered experience is being practiced, that means if it's being done in an appropriate way, that means we are creating that experience. That means we are going ahead and creating or delivering value to customers. And remember, that's what is the coordinate of agile and lean practices methodology, right? So organizations must go ahead and embrace that fact that continuous feedback loops is important. Those dialogues and conversations with customers is important to understand their needs, their expectations. And finally, going ahead and collaborating and co-creating in ways, unthinkable and unimaginable, right? So that is what is this paradigm shift all about. And just to mention here that this shift is not going to take place in days, weeks, or even months' time, folks. It's a journey, right? Paradigm shift is a journey. Just as being agile is a journey, similarly, the shift is a journey because it's all about, as I mentioned earlier, working on behaviors, working on, and then translating those behaviors into actions. So, yeah, so that's where I would like to, take a pause over here. And over to you, Sarika.
Thanks, Lakshmi. Thanks a lot. And thanks, Mariana and Rohit, for that beautiful welcome note. So, hi, everyone. And you really have to excuse me today. I have a bad throat, so I might take a pause in between to drink some water. My apologies for that. And Lakshmi and I are really glad to share with you this innovative approach of HR developed by Agile Operations LLC, which is an elite partner to Cultural Legends and based out of US. Now, as Lakshmi has touched this point a little bit, now the core of this approach, which is world's first people operations framework, the Agile People Operations Framework, is APF, right? So when we say Agile People Operations, the first thing that comes to anybody's mind is what Agile has to do in HR. So Agile is something that has association, with software sector, right? So to clarify that, this methodology is based on the principles of Agile, which is a project management methodology of software sector that basically emphasizes on flexibility, collaboration, and continuous improvement. But by applying Agile principles to HR processes, to organizations, right, we can actually create a more responsive, a more adaptive approach to managing people. Now, what does it involve? It involves an intentional shift from traditional HR process into more agile and dynamic practices, right? So this agile framework, this shows you how to make things work when it comes to people operations, how to make things work the agile way specifically. And this framework has been successfully tested and implemented in various countries, which include USA, which include India, which includes South Africa, Europe, Hong Kong. The list is increasing day by day. So before we dive deeper into this innovative approach, I would like to brief you a bit about what exactly APF does. What is the core business? What is it that we are into? Right? We offer role-based certification programs so that these concepts don't remain concepts only and people could learn how to implement them. So we have Talent Champions program for entry-level professionals, especially for those who are interested in pursuing a career in talent acquisition, so to say recruitment and hiring, right? And for those who are not interested in recruitment and hiring, but are interested in a journalist profile, for them, we have APF specialist programs. And we have a separate, Scrum Master program for talent champions and specialists. Now, Scrum Master is actually an agile terminology which is used for team leaders. So you have a separate Scrum Master program for talent champions and separate for specialists. And furthermore, our APF coach program is there, which is specifically designed for human resource directors, consultants, coach agents, and this is certified by International Coaching Federation. So if you are really interested in learning more about APF and its certifications, feel free to use the chat box or visit our website. And Mariana can also share this APF website with you in the chat box, right, Mariana?
Yes, ma'am, I'll be sharing it in the chat box.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you please change the slide, Mariana? Okay. So now we'll stepwise look into the details. Let's come to Agile Manifesto. Now, Manifesto is nothing but a written statement outlining what we stand for and how we plan to effect this change we are talking about. We strongly advocate these 4 aspects: team of teams over traditional hierarchies, growth mindset over fixed mindset, coaching culture over command and control, and trans-cultural competence over cultural competence. Let's start it one by one. Could you please change the slide, Mariana? And Mariana, in between, you must be having mentees too. So wherever you think I'm, forgetting to ask you to share the mentee, please interrupt me in between.
Yes, ma'am, we had a mentee for the previous slide. So do you want me to share it?
Sure. Please do it.
Okay. So we have a mentee exercise now for you all. I will be sharing a link in the chat box and would request you all to follow that link and cast your vote for the questions asked. Just give me a moment.
Okay, sorry to interrupt over here, but Sarika, what do you think? How about the folks get an understanding of the manifesto, and then the mentee is, rolled out so that people are able to, do justice in terms of, selecting which manifesto resonates, right? Maybe can we do that?
No problem.
Thanks.
Okay, Mariana. In that case, you keep the link safe with you and we'll share it later on. Over to the slide, Mariana. Okay. Right. Okay, so now let's start off with the concept of team of teams, which is very different from traditional hierarchical format used in most of the organizational charts. Now, in traditional hierarchy, what we see is there's a pyramid-like structure: directors, managers, team members, in order from highest to lowest, with clear chain of command, limited employee autonomy, right? In contrast, team of teams approach brings together various teams to collaborate and work towards a shared goal, creating a network of teams, which is also called as shared consciousness. Let's understand this thing with an example. Say, for example, a software development company may use a team of teams approach to build a new application. It will happen. They will create a team which will consist of developers, designers, quality managers, customer support representatives, all working together towards a shared goal. Now, what will happen when these people will work together? This approach will allow for a faster decision making and will promote collaboration between teams, leading to what? Leading to more efficient and effective product development process. This team of teams, there's a retired US Army general called Stanley McChrystal. He has written a beautiful book on team of teams, which highlights the importance of agility, importance of communication, and this shared consciousness that we are talking about, especially in terms of organizations. And he is emphasized on the need to empower individuals and small teams, in quotes I say, small teams, to adapt and innovate. In this book, actually, he has shared some very valuable lessons for organizations who are actually struggling with unconventional challenges, especially in today's time. So if you really want to learn more, the book is available online. You can go ahead and give it a read. It's really very interesting. I don't have it by my side today, otherwise I would have shown it to you. Okay, next slide, please, Mariana. Okay, now Lakshmi has already touched a little bit about growth mindset and fixed mindset. I think you must have got a basic understanding of what it is. So let's understand this thing with an example right now. Let's say, especially in terms of people operations, I'm talking. Let's say there is an HR manager who believes that his methods of employee training and performance evaluation are the only effective ones. So whenever his team members suggest a new idea or a new approach, he may dismiss them. He may dismiss them saying it's unnecessary or impractical. And we have always done it this way and there is no need to change at all. Now, what will happen with this kind of fixed mindset, especially of an HR manager? This fixed mindset would lead him to resist innovation, to resist feedback and collaboration. The outcome will be, it will prevent the HR teams from improving their process, which could actually go, could be beneficial for the organization's goals. A fixed mindset does nothing but limits personal growth. It prevents people from reaching their full potential. All in contrast, when we talk of growth mindset, an HR manager with that kind of a mindset might say, I'm open to exploring new ideas. I'm open to exploring new strategies that could actually improve our employees better. Now, this growth mindset enables to embrace new approaches. It encourages feedback. It encourages collaboration. And that continuous improvement in HR teams' performance and in organizational objectives. And this concept of growth mindset was popularized by a person called Carol Dweck, who is a Stanford University psychologist. You can actually go ahead and watch her on YouTube. She talks a lot about this. And researchers have actually shown, that with a growth mindset, people become more resilient. They become more successful in various areas of life. So by end of this session, maybe in a day or two, Mariana will be sharing with you a handout, which will include certain topics which we have covered in the webinar today, and some self-assessment tests for you so that you could reflect, especially related to growth mindset. Okay, Mariana, do you have any Menti over here?
No, we do not have.
Okay, thanks. Right. Let's move on to the next slide, please. Okay. So now let's come to command and control culture. Right? In command and control management style, again, let's understand this thing with an example from human resources or people operations, so to say. There could be an HR manager, who's making all the decisions and closely monitoring his team's work, providing that little autonomy or opportunity for a feedback. Now, this HR manager may dictate the performance goals and metrics to the team without involving them in the goal setting process. And he's not even open to feedback and suggestions from the team members, right? As to how they can improve the process, about the work environment. Now, this kind of approach can create lack of motivation, lack of engagement among team members. Now, the team members, they might feel undervalued. They might feel micromanaged. And further, it can also hinder HR teams' capabilities to adapt to changing circumstances because they are not getting involved into everything that is happening in the organization. They might not be even in a position to respond to employees' needs effectively, right? In contrast, in a coaching culture, managers may provide regular feedbacks. They support their team members. They encourage them to take that ownership of their work and help them set challenges. Challenging, but achievable goals. They help their employees to set challenging but achievable goals. That is what is very important. Additionally, employees may seek out coaching and feedback from peers, from managers, and engage in those regular self-reflection and self-assessment work to identify those areas of improvement. Now, a coaching culture not only benefits individual employees, but also the organizations as a whole. How? Because by practicing this, you are in a position to create a positive work environment. With that improved communication, improved collaboration, enhanced overall performance and productivity. That is what happens when you go ahead and implement this thing in your organization. All right, Mariana, thanks. Now let's talk about trans-cultural competence over cultural competence. What is cultural competence? Cultural competence is ability of a person to effectively interact, work, and develop meaningful relationships, especially from people from their own culture. On the other hand, trans-cultural competence, it's nothing but the ability to understand, appreciate, and interact with people from different cultures. It has been seen, it has been observed, that individuals are better able to accomplish goals in a respectful way, in an effective way, no matter what the cultural context is, if they go ahead and practice trans-cultural competence. Now here, most of the time emphasis is on 4 aspects: recognition, respect, reconciliation, and realization. Recognition. Recognizing what? How well can an individual recognize the cultural difference around him or her? That is what it is all about. Respect, respecting what? How respectful an individual is about those cultural differences. Reconciliation, how competent is the individual to reconcile the cultural differences. And lastly, realization, how competent can he become to realize those necessary actions to implement the reconciliation of the cultural difference. Now, I'm sure, many of you must be practicing it in your organizations, or maybe you must have seen somebody practicing it, be it cultural competence, be it trans-cultural competence. And I would love to hear from you, maybe in our question answer session, how and what is it that you think you could implement, or you have seen somebody practicing it in your organization when it comes to trans-cultural competence and cultural competence. All right. Next slide, please, Mariana. Okay. Let's talk about values now. Very basic, what are values? You all understand it very clearly. Values are fundamental beliefs, could be of a person, could be of an organization. Now, when it comes to organization values, what does it provide? It provides a clear guidance for decision making. It shapes companies' culture, and it aligns the employees towards that shared goal and principles. Now, these values, what they do is they actually guide the employees in identifying what is right, what is wrong. They give you a sense of direction. And values are the things, what you believe are important in the way you live and work when it comes to personal terms. Now, in APF, we strongly advocate, these 6 values: open communication, feedback, commitment, courage, respect, adaptability. And let's talk about these things one by one. I'll touch a bit about each and every value proposition here. Let's talk about open communication first. Open communication, what does it mean? Open communication refers to creating a work environment where employees feel comfortable and they're encouraged to express their thoughts, their concerns, and they are encouraged to give their feedback without the fear of retribution. And by promoting this thing, HR or people operations, so to say, they can gather valuable insights from employees. They can identify those areas of improvement. They can make data-driven decisions. And where is all these things going to help? All these things are actually going to help them to support in organization objectives. And it can, it can go to the extent that it can address conflicts also before even issues are escalated. Open communication is very, very important in organizations. It promotes transparency, it promotes trust, it promotes collaboration. And it could be done in many ways when it comes to people operations. You can go ahead and get into those regular check-ins. You can go ahead and do performance evaluations. You can do some employee surveys, and you can go ahead and ask people for feedback. You can have suggestion boxes, very common in human resources, right? Next is feedback. Next value in line. Feedback, we all hear this a lot in organizations these days. To the extent like even when we go to an e-commerce website, they ask for a feedback. You go, to any site whatsoever, even if it is not to buy something, they will come back and ask for a feedback. How was your experience visiting our website and all that stuff? Similarly, feedback is very essential when it comes to HR too. And how? Because it helps to improve employee performance and engagement. And providing that negative and positive feedback is very important. And you have to take it, constructively. And by providing that feedback, employees can understand their strengths, their areas of improvement, which can lead to increased motivation and productivity. Additionally, feedback can also help HR to identify those areas where employees may need additional training or support. What would it lead to? It will lead to more skilled and effective workforce. Our next value in line is commitment, courage, and respect. Very important, very essential to create that positive and productive workplace culture. Commitment, be it towards work or towards self. When it comes towards work, what is it that you need to show commitment to? It can be shown by being dedicated, by striving for excellence, by taking that ownership of your task, being accountable, and collaborating with your colleagues to achieve common goals. When it comes to HR, how do you think HR could show commitment? HR could demonstrate commitment by providing support, by promoting employee development, by creating a positive work culture. It's not only the employees, that they have to show the commitment. Even leaders have to display the commitment. And how can they do it? Leaders can show commitment by recognizing and rewarding employees' contributions. And commitment towards self, mind you, is equally important as commitment towards the organization. And how can you demonstrate that commitment towards your own self? It can be demonstrated by setting personal goals, by going into that continuous learning loop, by improving your skills, taking care of physical and mental health, and maintaining that work-life balance. Right? This one thing which is to be understood here is balancing commitment towards self and work is important for achieving overall success and for that overall well-being. Next is courage. Now, courage refers to ability to take risks, to speak up something, when something goes wrong, when you think something is not right. So you have to gather that courage and speak up. Now, employees who have the courage to express their opinions and ideas, even if they are different from others, They can help foster innovation. They can help foster creativity in the workplace. And leaders who encourage courage by creating a safe space for the employees to express their thoughts and ideas can help create a culture of trust and openness. Next is respect. Respect what? Respect refers to treating others with dignity, with fairness, with kindness. And employees who feel respected are more likely to be engaged and motivated at work. And leaders, it's not that, leaders expect everything from others and they don't display that behavior. They have to model that respectful behavior. And how is it going to help? It can help create that positive work environment where all employees feel valued, they feel supported. Right? And last but not the least is adaptability, essential skill for employees at all levels in the organization, especially in today's rapidly changing business environment. And it became even more important during pandemic, as you could see, organizations have had to rapidly adjust to new ways of working and operating. And during this pandemic times, Lakshmi has already talked about this thing. We learned new technology. We learned new ways of communication. It was during pandemic that you all get to know, the remote working is something that we could do. And today, the saying is people are not ready to go into a full-time office mode. They are more they want to remain flexible and they are more comfortable working in that hybrid mode. So that is the case. We have learned how to adjust our work schedule. We have learned how to adjust our job responsibilities and expectations to respond to that pandemic. And above all, we realize the significance of mental well-being to cope up with stress, to cope up with uncertainty, to cope up with change, and to have that positive outlook all the time. Right. So, Mariana, here do you have a mentee?
Yes, ma'am. We have 2 mentee exercises. I will share the links.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody, I will share a link in the chat box and you will have to follow that link to answer the questions. So this is the first link. Please follow this link and answer the first question. The first question is about APF Manifesto, which Sarika had just explained. So you can see from my screen the answers.
In case you face any issue accessing the mentee, please let us know. So we have talked about 4 manifestos here, right? The question is, in today's VUCA world, which APF manifesto do you think is most important for people operations functions? Rank it in order of priority. Is it team of teams over traditional hierarchies? Is it growth mindset over fixed mindset? Is it coaching culture over command and control, or cross-cultural competence over cultural competence? All right. So we have started getting the responses here, Mariana. I could see only 3 people have joined the mentee so far. What about the rest? Are you facing any issues joining the mentee? Please let us know. Okay, so this is the priority that they have. Team of teams over traditional hierarchy so far is on the top. Okay, we have 5 people on the Mentimeter right now. What about the rest? Okay, we still have team of teams over traditional hierarchies on the top. Most of you have voted it as your first priority. Then we have growth mindset over fixed mindset. Thirdly, we have coaching culture over command and control. And lastly, we have trans-cultural competence over cultural competence. Okay, we have one more person who has joined just now. I'll wait for the response. Okay, so we have 8 people on the Mentimeter right now. And Team of Teams is still maintaining its lead, and it's on the top. All right. Okay, fine. We have one more person who's joined. We have 10 on Mentimeter right now. Lakshmi, would you like to comment anything on the results?
Yeah, I'm just seeing, so, people are more about, they are pro collaboration and co-creation. Maybe that's what people are looking forward for. At the end of
Yes.
the day, that's what calls in for, delivering that value that we were talking about, Sarika. That's my take. That's what I'm presuming. What about you?
Yeah, same here.
Mm.
And I'm happy to see, growth mindset is actually sitting on the second platform. So it is good.
Yeah. In fact, it's following the order or the rank that APF has in itself, like it's like before. That's what the manifesto is, and here people are going.
Right, right. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for participating in this. Mariana, can we have the other mentee?
Yes, I will share the link for the other mentee. 1 second.
Okay. All right. So in this mentee, the question is, here is a link for all of you. Please go ahead and join this link. Question is, which APF values does your organization follow? Is it open communication, feedback, commitment, courage, respect, adaptability, or none? Okay, we have 3 people on the Mentimeter right now. If you face any issues joining the Menti, please let us know. 4, okay. Mhm. So there's a tie between open communication, feedback, and respect so far, and another tie between commitment and adaptability. Courage coming much later. Mhm. We have 7 people on the Mentimeter right now. Please go ahead and join the Menti. Okay. So open communication tops the chart, followed by a tie between feedback and respect, followed by another tie between commitment and adaptability. Courage again coming much later. Any thoughts on the results, Lakshmi, this time?
Yeah, I'm just, contemplating over here, Sarika, looking at that courage, because all the
Yeah.
webinars that has been done, the regional webinars everywhere, courage is something that's pretty low. So the thought process that's going in my mind is it because of the culture part, the hierarchy, the way the leaders have gone ahead and created that work environment? What are those factors or variables that is leading people to go ahead and rank courage as low? So yeah, that's
And I
what was
think-
in my mind.
Right. Very true, Lakshmi. In fact, I was also thinking on the same lines. Why is courage, being graded so low each and every time when we go ahead and share this Menti? And I would like to hear from all of you, what kind of help do you think you require in order to have that courage, in order to display that courage in your organization? And what is it that you fear about?
You can
Right?
use the chat functionality or
Yes.
unmute yourself and come forward and share your thoughts, folks.
It's an open space, it's a safe space. You can go ahead and share your thoughts here. All right. So we have open communication topping the chart. Then we have feedback, commitment, and respect standing at the same level, followed by adaptability and courage. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Mariana.
So Sarika and rest everybody else, Kanyuso is saying courage could possibly be lower because when promoting team engagement, it is better to be neutral than courageous to avoid groupthink.
Right. Kanisu, let's park this comment of yours for our question answer session and we'll discuss on this. Love to hear more on this from you. Thank you so much for responding. Thanks a lot. All right, let's come to value realization. Right. Agile PeopleOps work value realization. Now, let's talk as to what is it that happens or what could you expect when you embrace this agile mindset. Certain things that will happen. Cross-functional collaboration happens. When different teams in an organization, they collaborate on a common project or a goal. You could witness, that breaking down of silos and departments working alongside instead of against each other. And the various functions, they become more productive, they create an enjoyable workspace, and so on and so forth. And with this cross-functional collaboration in place, you will see co-creation happening. What is co-creation? That is developing new products, right? New services together with customers, together with partners, together with stakeholders, maybe. leading to more innovative ideas and improved services. Secondly, you are able to streamline the process, simplify it. And how this could be done, Lakshmi has already shared that lean methodology with you, right? This could be done by eliminating unnecessary work-related tasks to improve the efficiency, of the process, of the business. And how this could be done, this could again be done with the help of certain agile tools. We can also understand this thing, with the help of an example. Let's take people operations example. What we do in people operations in HR, over documentation, entering data in more than one systems. And what does it lead to? High time cost, unnecessary approval, signatures from management, maybe from staff members, keeping both hard copies, soft copies, right, at the same place, although we don't need them. We hardly see the hard copies. We always go ahead, switch on our computer if we are working offline, or laptop if we are working, from our home. And we go ahead and just get access to those soft copies and start working. Now, all this could be reduced, and that effort and time that we spend, it could be spent on more important work that needs attention, that needs to be done, which we waste here and there. Next is short and frequent meetings. What is it that you could achieve if you go ahead and display this thing, if you go ahead and implement this thing, go ahead and have these short and frequent meetings? This increases team's work momentum. Setting the appropriate cadences, it ensures a balance between individual productivity and group updates, especially when it comes to projects. And this involves, the assessment of the current processes, maybe products or services, to ensure that output is maximized and waste is minimized, leading to continuous improvement. Right from our first slide, Lakshmi has been emphasizing on this thing, continuous improvement, right? And as she has already said, she has mentioned, continuous improvement isn't one and done deal, right? It's not that you implement it once and you forget it. You have to take it as your way of your life. And lastly, how do you build successful human-centered experiences? Let's see how HR can say, for instance, what is it that HR could do when it comes to human-centered experience? When it comes to software, we all understand what human experience is all about, what customer experience is all about. When it comes to HR, we hardly come across any instances, any examples. But HR can do this, say, for instance, in the onboardings. We can personalize the onboarding process. What is it going to involve? This might involve providing information in different formats. We can show them in the form of videos, infographics, written material, and training them depending on the new hires' role and new hires' learning style. We could provide them clear and concise information about the onboarding process, including, what new hire can expect and what is expected out of him. That clarity has to be given there and then. This is what we could do. We can make our sessions much more easier, much more convenient, so to say, by keeping those timings and those platforms that suits all the candidates. We could create opportunities for the new hires to connect with the colleagues and feel a part of the team as soon as they join the organization. And many of today's leading organizations, they are putting more thought, they are putting in more resources into delivering a better overall customer experience, especially when it comes to human resources. And these kind of organizations, they outperform other companies just because of this. All right, let's go to the next slide, Maria. Right. Now, with this, we come to our last slide. And in conclusion, it's very important for you to reflect on the ways in which adopting an agile mindset can bring value to your organization, particularly in the field of people operations. Now, Lakshmi has already mentioned, how this role has been evolving. And with this evolution, you could see there are new opportunities for individuals to become those change champions within their organizations, within their teams. And it's up to each person to take that introspective look, right, as to how they can contribute to this shift towards agility, towards this continuous improvement. And if you need any help and support in your journey to explore this thing, please don't hesitate in reaching out to us. We and our team members are always there to help you out, to show you the way. That is all from my end today. Over to you, Mariana. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
The floor is open for any questions. I believe we had a answer from Kani also about courage.
Yeah. Okay, so Khanisha, you were saying courage could possibly be lower because when promoting team engagements, it's better to be neutral than courageous to avoid groupthink. Would you like to elaborate more on this?
Hello, can you hear me?
You're audible. Tell me.
If you tend to be like, let's say in a meeting, people will tend to side with whoever seems the most confident in their opinion, and that might prevent less confident members of the team from contributing. So what I meant by that was that sometimes coming off as can have its disadvantages because it may prevent other members from wanting to open up because they may feel that their opinions are inferior to whoever is the most courageous in the group.
Okay. Okay, Khanisha, got your point. Anybody else who would like to add to what Khanisha has said or maybe have a different perspective here? Anyone? All right, Lakshmi, what do you have to say about this thing, about this courage?
Based on what Kanyaso said, yeah, very true. But again, at the end of the day, if courage is not there, like if groupthink is getting promoted, then I wouldn't call it as concept, then, the whole thing that's out there about team of teams, that gets defeated. The whole purpose of team of teams is trust, mutual respect. And where there is respect, there should be that courage, for people to embrace constructive feedback in its own way. So the onus lies again on the leaders or the team members as such, like how safe is that environment? Like we talk about a lot on psychological safety, right? So what kind of a psychological safe environment is out there where people are courageously, they are sharing their ideas, they are coming forward and saying that if this is the thing, maybe this might happen. So how do we go about, right? So groupthink can be, it's like being goody-goody and agreeing to what people are saying, like the extroverts are saying is okay, maybe. But if we think from a long-term perspective, long-term team of team dynamics, network of teams dynamics, sustainability and all that, for that matter, it's not going to sustain over a long time. It's like, we're putting a mask and then we are, going ahead and having those interactions, right? So that's not authentic, to be precise. So courage, respect, all that, they go hand in hand. That's what
Absolutely. I agree with you, Lakshmi, because I think, with open communication in place, if open communication is there, it opens the door for courage too. You can go ahead and voice your opinion. Right. So I think, yeah, the onus is on the employees so many times to go ahead and at least display the courage.
And
don't
again,
sit there, yes. Yeah.
It again comes back to the leaders too, because again, in many organizations, leaders serve as a role model. So leaders have to be cognizant, like what values, the behaviors, how are they eliciting those behaviors and setting the stage for the employees to follow. So that too is important. And again, there's no excuse that, okay, my leader is not going ahead and, behaving, so I will also not behave. Again, that is also, it's like a double-edged sword, we say, right? So that again is not acceptable. When can you as an individual step up and become a change champion? Like, even though you're a team member, how are you treating your team members? When you people are coming together, are you giving that space? Are you encouraging them to be courageous, share the ideas and all, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, leadership thing is there, but the individual thing is there. And it's like, who is going to go ahead and get started with that change, right? That matters a lot, I would say.
Right. Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for sharing that. So do we have any questions, Mariana? Is there anything in the chat box?
No, nothing in the chat box right now, but if anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself as well and ask them, or you can use the chat box. Feel free. So do we have any audience questions?
Okay, I think we don't have any questions because
Yeah.
nobody's. Okay, fine. We can move ahead. Go ahead and to the next slide, Mariana.
Okay, then we will move ahead. So that was a wonderful session. Don't you all agree? I want to take a moment to thank our speakers for this thought-provoking and knowledge-sharing session. Thank you. We have an upcoming learning lab scheduled on May 24th. The speaker is Christy Porter, and she will talk about determining your company's main core competencies, how to use these to design better interview questions, how to kick off a recruiting strategy meeting, how each role is its own project, and how being agile supports the success of that project. So stay tuned for the registration link that will be shared to your email IDs, and I guarantee you that joining this learning lab will be a great learning experience for you all. Now here comes an exciting news your way. We invite you to join our upcoming global virtual conference, the PeopleOps Pulse 2023, scheduled from October 10th to 12th, 9 a.m. to noon, New York time. We are bringing together industry experts from around the world to share their knowledge and ideas during the conference. The conference theme will explore how organizations can ACE, that is foster business agility, adopt coaching as a practice, and elevate the people's experience. So hoping to meet you all during the conference, and please stay tuned for the registration link. So what do we have next? We have some post-webinar assessments like Sarika had just mentioned earlier, and they will be shared to all the attendees. Also, in continuation to the TRIO webinar series, we have our upcoming webinar in the month of July. So stay tuned for that. We have our India WhatsApp group and LinkedIn group as well, and the links will be shared via email. So now I would like to call Rohit to say a thank you note. Over to you, Rohit.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much, guys. Today I stand before you to express my deepest gratitude to each every one of you for your participation in India event. Your presence here has been instrumental in ensuring the resounding success and remarkable gathering. So I'm truly humble and grateful for the time, attention, active engagement you have dedicated to making this event a memorable one for me. And also, I would like to thank you, our experts, Sarika ma'am and Lakshmi ma'am, both of you. So all the insights and all the details you share, it help us to transform ourselves from the traditional to new innovative thinking to develop these things in our growth mindset. So yes, uh, thank you once again from my bottom of my heart. And surely next time we will come with the very new topics and we learn a new things from our experts. So stay tuned for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rohit. You will all receive a feedback form link in the chat box. We would request you to share your feedback. It is really valuable to us. And we will also be sharing the recording of the session with all the participants who have RSVP'd. We will be uploading the session to our Agile PeopleOps YouTube channel. Thank you all once again and have a wonderful day ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.